That is very, very difficult to find in a solar panel if you've ever bought solar panels. I hear the cooling fan running, the fan that's, here we go. Okay, so it surged to 1,352 watts, you saw that? This is a dirt cheap solar setup, solar generator setup that you can have some peace of mind with and run all your sensitive electronic gear with, run your communication gear with, charge your phone, charge your laptop, run your television, heat yourself if you need to heat yourself with a small heater, run power tools. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, my name is Anthony, and here we talk about all things preparedness, training, and education. And so I want to welcome you. Today we are talking about a dirt cheap solar generator setup, and I mean dirt cheap. We are looking at the EcoFlow River 2 Max and the Renogy 100 watt monocrystalline solar panel. And man, right now, if you will check this out, when I say dirt cheap, 350 bucks, actually 340 bucks if you'll check out my cart. You can get the EcoFlow for 278 bucks, and then you can get the solar panel. And this is an amazing solar panel. I'm going to show you when we go outside. It is absolutely amazing. You can get that for 62 bucks. I think I actually paid 74 for it, or 80 bucks not too long ago when I bought it. But 340 bucks, you can't beat that for this solar setup. Wait till I show you what it actually can run. And so that's what I want to do, is go through that today, show you what it can run and show you the value that it is, because solar, you can't help having peace of mind with solar. And when you see all the stuff that this can do, it really does give you peace of mind in regular power outage or extended power outages. One of the biggest things you can do is communication. You can run your Starlink off of this. And we saw in the hurricanes past, just recently, that and every time the power goes out here, I run Starlink off of a solar setup. So you can do that off of this, and you can have communication, and that is key during a power outage, especially an extended power outage. But this EcoFlow River 2 Max, if you'll come up close and look at it, I just want to go over it with you and show you. It's at 77% right now. The cool thing about this, it shows you your input and your output as far as your different charging capabilities, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But it shows you your output on your devices. And so normal output, it is rated as a 500 watt solar generator, but it can go up to 1,000 watt surge. It has a built-in ability to do that with bigger stuff. It can't do that for an extended period of time, but if you have inrush current, it will surge up to 1,000, and you'll see that on some of the different things we have here. So you have you actually have 4 AC outlets, but these two are close together, you can see. So if you have 2 plugs that don't fit, it's going to reduce your outlets down. But if you have smaller stuff like this lamp, you can plug that in there, and then you'll still be able to fit a regular cord like that. And so you have the ability for 4 AC plugs like that, and we'll run these things in just a second. And then you have the ability to charge through solar. It comes with a solar cord so that you can hook up a panel to it, and then you can run all your little devices as well right here on the front, all your USB devices and USB-C devices. And so let me show you. You could also have the DC you also have the 12 volt DC plug as well, so you can run all your 12 volt DC. And each section has a part where you turn it on and you turn it off, so you can isolate that power. So looking on the back, you can charge via solar with the cord that I just showed you, and then you can charge via the wall also. Has super fast 1 hour charging that you can do through the wall, and so you can charge this thing up in less than an hour through the wall. With a solar panel, when we go outside, I'm going to show you how fast that will charge in full sun, and it's pretty impressive with that Renogy solar panel. And then you have one other option. If you see this USB-C, and if you don't know what USB-C is, let me show you. It's that connection right there, and you can actually charge. This is it goes both ways, basically. You can charge, or you can run off of this USB-C outlet right here. And so if you have a USB-C charger into the wall or into your vehicle, you can charge this through that, or you can run power off of it if you want to run your laptop or any other USB-C device. All right, so let's see what this thing can run. One of the first things I want to show you is what's called UPS, and that is uninterrupted power supply. And so for sensitive devices like the TV or the laptop, or even if you're running a light like that, let's show you. We can turn on the light. And then I'm going to unplug the television and plug it in. Okay, so I have the TV plugged in and I have the lamp plugged in, and now I'm going to plug the power station into the wall. So effectively, it's going to be charging, but it's going to be running the lamp and it's going to be running the television off of grid power. And then what it's supposed to do when you unplug from grid power, it is supposed to be an uninterrupted power supply to where it automatically switches over to run off of solar. Cords become crazy, don't they? Okay, so if you'll come look at the display. Okay, so you can see I have between 780 and 800 watts coming in. I have 150 roughly watts going out between the lamp and the television. And so an uninterrupted power supply, I'm going to go to the wall, and basically the lamp, the unit, and the television, they are running off of grid power, because grid power overrides the battery power when it's plugged in. And so everything is running off of grid power right now. So in theory, an uninterrupted power supply, I should be able to unplug it from the wall, and uninterrupted, the lamp should stay on and the television should stay on. We might see a little flicker, or it might all go off and not work as it's supposed to. So you're seeing this for the first time just like me. So I'm going to unplug from the wall, and Lord willing, they'll stay on. Okay, so you heard a little click from the unit. You can see the unit itself is unplugged. I couldn't tell if there was a flicker in the lamp. I don't think there was. And the television, it didn't do anything. It just stayed on as normal. And that's a true uninterrupted power supply, and that's what you want. So for sensitive equipment, like if you're running your Starlink and the power goes out or the power comes back on, it's an uninterrupted power supply, and it allows you to seamlessly switch over from grid tie to solar if you're doing that. And so that's great. It's a very, very good functioning unit for that. So some of the other things you can do, I'm going to unplug the lamp. Let me turn it off. I'm going to leave the TV plugged in. Let me see how much output we have. 140. Yeah, let's just see if the heater, this is a small space heater, and that's really important in emergency situations. Let's just see if it'll run the TV and the small space heater at the same time. All right, that's on fan. So if you just needed a fan, it didn't bump it up that much. Now let's go low heat. Okay, so it's running the television and it's running the heater. You can see now it's taking out over 500 watts on low, and that heat is producing. So you can have a little emergency heater, and I put it on high and it kicked off, but it's still sucking juice for some reason. It didn't override it, but oh, the TV cut out. And there, it look down here at the thing. It overloaded. Okay, so when I put the heater on high, it overloaded. The TV and the heater were too much for it. And so you can see that blinking back and forth. So let's shut this off. We're going to kick the AC power back on. We're going to unplug the TV, and we're going to try the heater by itself on high. And that's the cooling fan you hear for that battery is working. Okay, low, high, it's probably going to overload again. It's climbing, it's trying to get that fan on. So it is heating, but it's not turning the fan on high, which is interesting. and there it overloaded. Okay, so one more time. Let's see if we can just run it on low indefinitely. There's AC power back on. And the heater on low. Which if you need to heat a small room, that heater, we use it in a bathroom, and I've used it out in my workshop too, and it will heat. It'll heat very well, even on low. So you can see it is heating and blowing out some heat. So as long as you stay right in that 500 watt range, this thing won't overload. It's when you push it constantly between 500 and 1,000 watts. It'll take a surge up to 1,000 for a short amount of time, as you can see, but then it'll overload if it stays there. And so that's what you don't want to do. All right, so it'll run a heater. You can see that. We're going to turn that off. So you can power all of your electronics, all your sensitive electronics, Starlink most importantly, your computers, your TVs, lights, heaters, basically any small appliance that is not going to run over 500 watts for an extended amount of time. If it surges and goes back, that's fine. So let's do this. Let's check one more important device. So one of the most important devices is a refrigerator or a freezer. Specifically on this device, you're going to use like a mini fridge. This is a large one, so let's just see what happens. I believe it will run it. Okay, so you can see it plugged, turned on. We got an output of 490, and it is running the fridge. And it's starting to work. And the fridge cycled. Let's just see for a minute, see if it cycles back on. I hear the cooling fan running, the fan that's, here we go. Okay, so it surged to 1,352 watts, you saw that? And now the output is 111. And that compressor is on, I can hear it. Okay, so it's gonna run that for 3 hours. So if you had to wait for, and this is a full-size fridge, that's pretty awesome. If you had to wait for power to come back on, I know we've had power restored in most cases under 3 hours all the time. Now, if you were in an extended situation where you had a power outage, what you could do is run it, get it back up to temperature for 3 hours, cut it off, charge this with your solar, or it does pass-through charging also. So if you have a long enough area or long enough cord or an extension cord, you can actually put this out in the sun, charge it, and it's going to pass through charge from the sun, and you'll be able to offset those hours, and so you'll be able to run for 5 or 6 hours. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to go outside. I'm going to show you how the thing charges with that Renogy solar panel, and you're going to be impressed, I promise. Okay, so charging, you can charge this thing 3 different ways, and solar being the most important way, because when you have a power outage, you need to be able to recharge your power station. So it comes with this cable, and that cable just simply plugs into the back, orange to orange, and that little outlet right there. Actually, let me plug into the panels first. It's always good to plug into your power first. So if you look at these 2 connections right here, they're plug and play, very simple. You can't mess them up, male to female and female to male. And that's your positive and your negative from the back of the solar panel. This is the Renogy 100 watt monocrystalline solar panel, 64 bucks. You can't beat it. Watch what this thing does. We have full sunshine, which is great, but check this out when this starts to register. If you can see it, actually come around here in the shade. It'll be easier to read that display. Look at that. 199, 101, 101 is what I'm looking at right here. Look at this. That is very, very difficult to find in a solar panel. If you've ever bought solar panels, most of them will get 75, maybe 80% of their rated wattage. This is rated at 100 watts, and it is putting in 100 watts to this panel. And look, it says it's 78%. In 1 hour, we'll be at 100% in the sun with this little Renogy 100 watt solar panel. And that is awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna leave this right here in the shade. And if you are charging, you don't want to leave your box out in the sun. You want to leave it in the shade in your panel. I just have it supported on a bucket, you can see. But look, you could take this panel anywhere. Come around to the front and look at this thing. It is not big at all. You can take this panel and put it on the roof of your car with some magnets. I've done that before. It works with some super magnets. You can just store it in your vehicle, take it with you, whether you're an RV person or you're an overlander, an off-roader, or if you just want to keep it at the house. It's small enough. It's not a true portable panel. Those are super expensive, the folded ones. But this is something you could take around with you easily anywhere. Or you could mount several of these on top of a small building, or you could mount them on your house or just on your back porch on a rack or out in your yard, man. For 64 bucks, you can't beat a 100-watt solar panel that pulls in actual 100 watts. That's the Renogy panel with the EcoFlow. But you can see, look, it's not going to take long at all. So this is what you can get for 340 bucks, less than 350 bucks. I left links down in the description below, and I'll leave links in the first comment to the Amazon links for that. Again, that is a Black Friday sale, but still, if you got this for less than 400 regular days, or if you got it for less than 500 regular days, it's still an awesome setup that you can run pretty much anything you want to run. I'm going to show you some extra stuff that I've done over time in the clips following this. But that's the end of the video. This is a dirt cheap solar setup, solar generator setup that you can have some peace of mind with and run all your sensitive electronic gear with, run your communication gear with, charge your phone, charge your laptop, run your television, heat yourself if you need to heat yourself with a small heater, run power tools. And again, I'll link another review, an in-depth review of that EcoFlow down in the description below, where I went through all the different power tools in my shop that it will run. And then again, look for the clips after this. As always, I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Thank you for making the choice to defend yourself and those you love. God bless you and yours. So as you can see, I'm going to do some jigsawing and show you it can run the jigsaw as well. So if you need to use power tools in a remote location, you can do that. All right, so we're in the shop, and if you'll look down the row with me, we have a small bandsaw, drill press, belt sander, and a bench grinder. I use these daily, so if I need to keep operations running, the question is, would I be able to, although it might be an inconvenience to run them sparingly, would I be able to run them off the EcoFlow River 2 Max? And that's what I want to see. So look, they're normally tied into this outlet right here via this plug. You can see all the cords go to 3 of them, and then I have the belt sander is plugged in independently. So what I'm going to do is take the Max and put it back here, the River 2 Max, and I'm going to plug all those in just like they normally would, and I'm going to plug the belt sander into the opposite side, and we're going to see, will it run any of these or all of these? So let's start with the bench grinder. Hold on one second, let me make sure I've got it plugged in. You have to turn the AC power button back on. So the AC power button is on, it's plugged in. Sorry, my bench grinder was up against the my bench grinder was up against the dust inlet port. But anyway, you can see 109 output watts. It runs that no problem. You'd be able to use that grinder if you wanted to use it straight for 3 hours at 88%. So you'd probably get 3.5 hours if you were at 100% charge on that. And again, if you had wires to the outside, to the sun, you could have that charging and effectively cutting that down. So if you had 220 watts coming in, 109 watts going out, then you would be using none. You'd be positive 100 watts. So you could run that indefinitely on a sunny day if you needed to run it. And I've never run all these at the same time because I'm just one guy. So let's see. Now we come to the belt sander. It had about 430 watts starting. It's running at 178. So if you had your solar panels outside, you could still run that all day with a balance of 50 coming in. 220 max is what you can pull into this. And so it would run this, and it would run it indefinitely all day if you had your solar panels hooked up. All right, now the drill press motor is probably going to be a little different because it's going to pull a little more wattage. Let me see if you can still see the EcoFlow and the drill press at the same time. And let's see. All right, so that's pulling 155 watts on the EcoFlow. And so you have no problem using your drill press, again, for hours if you just had a charge, or if you had sunshine coming in, then you could run it indefinitely with solar power. All right, I'm gonna move the box down a little bit. Let me move this out of the way so we can get to the bandsaw. And I'll be interested to see if it runs the bandsaw also. We can see both of those. I got to tighten it up. Oh no, it is tight. All right, let's try the Delta bandsaw. So it kicked up to about 500 watts, 490 when it first turned on. That's your surge starting. And now it's running at 125, which is actually lower than all the rest of them, so that's pretty good. Again, you could run that indefinitely. If you had a sunny day, it's no problem. You could continue operations in a small workshop. And then if you had an extended time outage, extended period of time with an electrical outage and you needed to build stuff, you went into full off-grid mode and you needed to cut wood and make things or repair things, you could do that with simple stuff.